I'm Corey Janoff, a financial advisor here at Finity Group, and in this segment we are going to talk about the power of compound interest. Albert Einstein once referred to compound interest as the eighth wonder of the world, and it can be quite wonderful if you get on the correct side of it. If you are on the wrong side of it, compound interest can be your worst enemy. Today we will examine compound interest and discuss how it can benefit you and how it can hurt you. First, how does compound interest work? When interest is compounded, the new interest amount is added to the original principal amount plus any accrued interest. Moving forward, the interest rate will be applied to the new total balance. This is easiest to understand with a visual example. On the screen, you can see a starting balance of $100,000. Let's assume there is a 10% annual interest rate attached to it, and the interest compounds annually. 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. So after 1 year, the new balance will be 100,000 plus the 10,000 of interest, which adds up to 110,000. In year 2, the 10% interest rate is applied to the $110,000 balance. 10% of 110,000 is 11,000. So after year 2, the new balance will be 121,000. In year 3, the 10% interest rate is applied to the $121,000 balance. 10% of 121,000 is 12,100. That gets added to the starting balance of 121,000. So after year 3, the total amount is 133,100. Every year, the amount of interest added gets larger and larger. If this continues, you can see how the interest continues to grow and compound on top of itself. If this is an investment, this can work out fantastically for you. The more time you have to let it compound, the greater it can become. Now, this is a hypothetical example and isn't reflective of any real investment. An actual investment could have variation in returns and even potential losses, including total loss of principal, but for illustrative purposes, you get the idea. If this is a debt, that compound interest can work aggressively against you. After 10 years, the balance has increased by more than 150%. That is quite the hole to dig out of. As mentioned earlier, compound interest can work in your favor or it can work against you. Now let's take a look at an example of how the power of compound interest can benefit you the earlier you start investing. In this example, we have Paula the planner on the left and Pete the procrastinator on the right. We'll look at Paula first. Paula is going to start investing $20,000 per year starting at age 35 into a hypothetical investment account that generates an 8% rate of return annually. After 10 years of depositing $20,000 per year into this account, she is going to stop making contributions. So a total of $200,000 has been invested over a 10-year span. Paula will let this investment continue to grow and compound at 8% per year. If it continues that growth rate at age 65, Paula will have $1.35 million in this account. Pretty impressive. Now let's look at Pete. Instead of starting his investment program at age 35, Pete is going to wait until age 45 to begin investing. He is going to follow the same plan of investing $20,000 per year. However, instead of stopping after 10 years, Pete realizes he is getting a later start than Paula, so he is going to deposit $20,000 per year into his account for 20 years, from age 45 to 65. So he will invest a total of $400,000. Any guesses on what Pete has at age 65 in his account, assuming it grew at 8% per year like Paula's? If you guessed Pete would have less than Paula, you are correct. Pete is still making out all right. He was able to turn $400,000 into $915,000 in this example. However, Paula was able to turn half as much into 50% more than Pete, simply by starting earlier. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is the rule of 72. This is a simple rule of math that you can use to estimate how long it will take something to double in value at a given interest rate or rate of return. The rule of 72 states that if you divide 72 by the interest rate, that is how many years it will take the balance to double. So if the interest rate is 7.2%, 72 divided by 7.2 equals 10, it will take 10 years for the balance to double in value. For example, if you have $100,000 in an investment account and it magically grows by 7.2% per year, in 10 years, the account balance will be worth $200,000, assuming no money was added to the account or taken out of the account. For those of you with student loans around 7% interest, if you put them into deferment or forbearance and don't make any payments, the balance will double after 10 years. If the interest rate or rate of return is 10%, the balance will double after approximately 7 years. At a 3% interest rate, 72 divided by 3 is 24, the value will double after 24 years. Historically, inflation has averaged around 3% per year. If this continues into the future, you can expect cost of living to double every 24 years. Assuming you maintain the same lifestyle and spending habits over time, 24 years from now, it will cost twice as much to live that lifestyle. 48 years from now, life will be 4 times as expensive for you as it is today. Simply due to inflation, if you want to be able to afford life in the future, you need your money to grow for you. So get on the correct side of compound interest and have your money start working for you.